Welcome to Get Inspired, the podcast by Go Hard for God Daily. This is where we display the life of believers. We share and teach the gospel with practical living. We be real, we be honest, and we be open, and encourage you to be the authentic version of you that God created. Welcome to Get Inspired. Now let's get into the episode for today. What's going on, everybody? My name is Kirby Love, CEO, founder, Go Hard for God Daily. Welcome back to another episode. We're in season 4. For those who have been keeping up, our frequent followers, those who are tapped into what we're doing right here on the Get Inspired podcast by way of Go Hard for God Daily. You know, in season 4, what we've dived into is more so the relationships to be able to help married couples. So we're here again on episode number 3 of season 4, and I have the most specialists. I made that up.
I know.
I have the most special person in my life at this moment in time. Joining me today on this episode is my beautiful wife, Mrs. Love, as the education world called her. I would say her first name, but a lot of people mess it up, even if I tell you what the first name is. Should we tell them your first name? You want to tell them? You tell them your first name.
It's LaRussia.
Lil Russia. All right. When we go to check out fast food and stuff, they be jacking her name up when she order through the app and stuff, and everybody get to the car and they're like, "It's LaRussia, Larissa," and she just kind of go with it, like, "Yeah, that's it." So listen, shout out to everybody with difficult names. I don't feel like your name is difficult.
It's really not. It's pronounced how it's spelled.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's that. But I have my wife joining me today, and we're gonna continue what we've been doing in season 4, just being able to share some things that can potentially. Listen, I do this all the time. They already know Kirby Love cannot talk, so it ain't nothing new. But we want to be able to help those who are looking to get married, those who are married, who've been married for 10 years plus, or those who've been married for 1 year. No matter where you are, marriage is a beautiful thing, and we've had a journey. We've been married for 14 years.
Yeah.
Going on 15 next year in May. And there's a lot of things that we have learned, and we just want to be able to, sit down and just have the conversation with you guys and talk to you about some marriage things, some tips, some principles, some practical things, some struggle things, how you can overcome some things that help so that you can continue to stay in covenant. Again, it's a beautiful thing to be married, and we just want to be able to help those out there and speak to that audience. So today, where do we start? Where should we start? We got a lot of stuff we can talk about. So I got the cards here with a lot of different things, a lot of different places we can go. I think we can kind of start by you could just tell them how you came on to me back in high school. There's a story that you have yet to be honest about, and just really tell the truth on how you came to Kirby Love in high school because I was somebody that you was desperately wanting.
No, you already starting with the lies.
Okay. Tell the truth. The truth set you free.
The truth is, me and my friend were playing a game where we would just go up to different boys and say, "Hey, she likes you." So this time it just happened that she went up to him and it worked out for our good.
So, it's like I'm by accident. But it worked out for you.
It worked out for you.
It worked out for us.
Okay, that sounds better.
It's good. It's all good. It's all good. I'm grateful. I'm happy y'all played the game. I'm happy y'all played the game. Look, they was answering prayers they didn't even know that they had anything to do with. So I was already praying. I had prayed. I didn't really have a relationship with God. I'm gonna put it like this. I knew I could pray.
Yeah.
Like I knew that much. If you want something, you pray and ask God. That's as far as I knew. You talking about a 16, 17-year-old kid So that's as far as I knew. That was my relationship with God, and that was it. I knew I could pray. I can ask God if I needed something, like before a football game. God, just don't let me get hurt. Protect me. And it was one game I actually got hurt, and I was like, dang, I didn't pray before the game. So, but yes, but I did know that much. But one of the things that I did pray though was, I prayed for someone like nice, kind, not like macho, if that's a word, like
It's a
aggressive,
it's a word, but I don't know if we
calm.
really use that word
What
for women
I mean, yeah, that's what
because
I
it's like
mean.
macho man.
So, but yeah, I really prayed for someone that was calm, that was like patient, that was not aggressive, and all of that. And she was literally everything I prayed for at 17, 18. But when we got together, I knew that I wanted to marry you. I'm talking to them. Let me talk to them real quick. I knew I wanted to marry her then. And I know some people is like, how do you know you want to marry somebody at 17, at 18 years old? What?
You were
How do you think you know? Do you think you just know at 18, like if you want to marry somebody? We've heard relationships like people been married, like
yeah.
Miss Joyce and her husband was married. They was like teenagers and stuff, and then they eventually got married and stayed married until he passed away.
I feel like when you know, you know. Like if that makes sense. Almost
Yeah,
like when you're buying a house. Like when we were buying this house and we walked into the model home, we knew. It's not
yeah,
the same,
yeah. I
but
know
it's
it's not
kind
the
of the
same.
same.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I think there is a if you know, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it's more, you just have to experience it. You know how they say it's better said than done? I think this is more better done than said. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to experience the if you know, you know. It
Yeah.
like, because you can say if you know, you know, but when you are in the situation, that's the experience. Like,
Yeah. It's
you can
like,
see, you talk to somebody for like 2 days or a week, and you was like, I know
yeah,
that's it.
it's like a feeling like that you, I guess, never experience with anyone but the person that you know you want to be with for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, and I also think it maybe come from just stuff you kind of see other people deal with, or like you see certain marriages or certain relationships, or and maybe you want something different also, like
Yeah.
because some people have different models when it comes to parents, what
Mhm.
they look like in their home, and then when they see or experience sometimes. And I ain't saying necessarily go by this, because what I don't want you guys to do is be fooled by somebody who's playing a part. All right, let's put that in there.
Yeah.
Don't be fooled by somebody playing a part. Now, when we talk about you know, like you know. But we're not going to dive too much into that, because the Spirit of God is really where we want to be at when we know, meaning we're led by the Spirit with who we're going to be with. So, but that's the story of how we met. Back to the main point. That's how we met. I had already been having an eye out for keeping an eye on her, watching her and stuff. I wasn't stalking. I was just looking.
What's the difference?
Like, stalking is like following folks around. You got cameras. You like, I ain't gonna put the plans of stalkers. I don't want folks to be like, they telling people how to stalk. People just know how to stalk, right?
I guess.
I
I
don't
don't
know. We
know.
don't want to
I
do
don't
that.
know how to stalk.
But I was looking. Like, when I seen you, I was like, yeah, I see that. Mm-hmm.
Lustful. That's what it
No,
was.
nope. I just like what I saw. I like what I saw, you know. So it was
You didn't even know me though. So
that don't mean nothing.
you was looking.
I was
But
looking. That's what I said. I wasn't
but
stalking. I was looking.
it's lustful.
Yeah,
You was
probably.
young.
Yeah, I knew what I wanted. So, and it came right to me, y'all. It came right to me. I ain't even have to work for it like that. Like, I ain't have to go out and get my homeboys and like, man, put in a word for me. That's what you did, though. That's kind of what you
That
did. It was the other way around. You kind of had your homegirl to put in a word for you, even though y'all was quote unquote playing, but you still here. Mm. Say less.
we were playing.
All right, y'all. Let's get into some really good stuff, some good conversation that we want to have tonight, just about marriage, some things that we've kind of experienced, we've learned. So we got married at 18, 19.
Yeah.
Very, very, very young. So we were together.
Babies.
We were together in high school,
Yeah.
and then when she graduated high school, we was fast tracking that thing. So you could tell. I'll let you tell the fast track story, kind of how it went.
Like the timeline. So we
Just
got
tell the fast
engaged when I
track.
was 17.
Yeah.
Well, let me start. So I met you when I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
We got engaged when I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
We got married when I was 18. Like literally maybe 2 weeks after I turned 18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So I graduated high school that Saturday. We left to go back to North Carolina that Tuesday. That Thursday we got married, and that Friday we moved into our apartment.
Yeah, we was fast tracking that thing.
But here we are.
But yeah, here we are. And I know to people who may be listening to this, they was like, yeah, y'all really moving. What y'all's in a hurry for? Honestly, nothing.
Yeah. I think we just had a plan.
Yeah, we had a plan.
Yeah.
And I knew what I wanted, like, from the time that we got engaged. Like, I knew I wanted to be with her. I had already told my mom that I wanted to be with her, that I was going to marry her and everything. So
Yeah.
I knew what I wanted, right?
And I knew I was ready to go.
Yeah, I don't think she had a plan
I did not.
for me. I knew who I want. You know, I think we wanted to be together.
Yes.
We were together.
Yes.
You know, we had been talking for a while, but you were just ready to go.
I was ready to go.
She was ready to get out the house.
I
Mama,
not
if you're
have
listening,
a plan, though.
if you're listening to this,
Look, thinking back, I'm like, that's scary. I just followed you. Legit, didn't have a plan. I just knew you were gonna do what you need to do.
yeah. So let's talk about that though. Let's talk about that area there, because there are a lot of people who kind of just put their trust in man, like you did. Again, now, so let me give you a little bit of spiritual backdrop of where we were first. All right, where we were first. I wouldn't say I was saved.
I wouldn't say I was saved either.
I wouldn't say I was saved.
Like, I was
kinda,
praying, like, literally
Yeah.
every night, but I was doing stuff that I knew I shouldn't have done and prayed at night, like, Lord, please forgive me. I'm not going to do it again. And
Yeah.
then do it the next day.
I think we all had that prayer. Everybody. If you ain't had that prayer before, you lying. You lying.
Yeah.
So, but let's talk about how some people can, like, just put their trust in man. So in that state, you was like, hey, I'm just finna go follow this dude. And you knew, but there was really a hope.
Yeah.
It was really kind of like, I hope.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if it failed, what was your plan after that?
I don't know.
That's scary.
That is, look, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. But you'll be amazed at how many people literally uproot their whole lives
Yeah.
to follow a man, but nobody uproot or drop everything to follow God the same way.
No. Even though, like, he'll show you, like, I'm here, you can follow me, like, it's gonna be good when you come over here. But no.
Yeah, but that takes relationship with God. Like, you don't know the voice of God if you don't have a relationship with God. So
I think for some people it's easier. Like, for me, of course, I was 18 at the time.
Right.
It was easier because I could see you. Like, I talked to you every day.
yeah,
I knew you.
right. And so it's easier, I guess, to that point, it's easier to put trust in things that you see or people that you see. And sometimes you have experienced their level of whatever it is that they're doing. So you say, okay, I can bet that they're going to take care of this, that they're going to do that. So, but I think, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, they haven't let you down.
Right.
like kept their promises. Like
Hmm.
if you say you're gonna be there, you were there on time, and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it is.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that would be helpful for people in that situation is to begin to learn the voice of God.
Mhm.
Because what we don't want you to do is, you're young, you're excited, you're married, you're ready to be grown. And honestly, this is the phase that we were in. Real quick before we get ready to take our first break, time is rolling already.
Yeah.
Um, this is the phase that we were in. We were young, we were excited, and when you're young, excited, 18, 19, you're always just ready to get out. Especially
Yes.
when you have rules that you don't always want to follow in the house.
Yes. I remember like before I graduated, because I lived with my mom, and my dad was like, "What's your plan?" And I was like, "I don't know." and, and he was like, "Well, if you want to come stay here, that's fine, but just know I got rules. I'm pretty sure your mom got rules too." And
Hmm.
I was like, "I'm grown. Like, I want
Yeah.
to do what I want to
Right.
do." So,
Right. You don't want to move out of one parent house grown. And this is growing up
yeah.
in dual, like having mom and dad being separated, but you don't
Yeah.
want to grow up in one home. You got rules, and then you're grown. You ready to get out on your own, and then now you move with dad, and you still
Yeah.
grown, and now you still can't do what you want
Yeah.
to do. So,
So I was
look,
like, "No, that ain't sound pretty good."
you had to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's the place that most of us are when we're young, 18, 19, we're ready to go.
Mhm.
And we just like, hey, I'm ready to get out. And we don't necessarily think about the things like what's next. We just kind of live in the moment.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a break right here really quick, and then we're gonna come back and finish talking about a lot of great things that we have for you guys. Hey, I just want to take this moment to let you guys know that we just released something new on our website. And what that is the prayer wall. The prayer wall is a place where you can submit your prayers for yourself, your loved ones, your co-workers, friends, or anybody that you know that need prayer. You can go on the website www.ghfgd.com and submit your prayer right there. We post those prayers on the prayer wall. Now, the prayer wall is not just a place where we're displaying the prayers, but it's where our community is able to join together and pray for one another as believers. We always talk about here at Go Hard for God Daily that it's a lifestyle. And when we say it's a lifestyle, that means that our life reflects what we should be doing as believers, and praying for one another is one of the things that we should be doing. So take a moment whenever you get a chance to go to the prayer wall, look at the prayers that are on there, pray for somebody else, or if there's something that you need prayer for, or a family member or a co-worker or a friend, then you can submit that prayer and we'll be interceding and praying with you guys. Now let's get back to the episode. All right, so we're back, and what we left off on was just talking about being young, 18, 19, you're ready to move out, get on your own. But let's kind of transition into some other things, because so throughout our marriage, and I want to hit on this a little bit because this is more so like relationship goals, marriage goals,
Yeah.
because a lot of people can see you where you are now. They see you on the mountaintop, but they don't see you on the climb.
Yeah. And the climb was hard.
Yeah. So the climb, everybody hill is different.
Yeah.
Like, and if you ride a bike, if you run, exercise, if you on the incline on the treadmill, you know what that hill feels like. That thing get to burning and you be want to quit.
Well,
Right.
even some driveways around here, I'm like, I would not want to walk up that.
Yeah. So when we're talking about that, everybody have their own hills, their own climbs. Climbs. That's two.
I
That's
knew
two
what you
times.
meant.
That's two times. All right. That's two. But everybody have their own climb, in their marriages and their relationships. So there's a lot of people who would look at, like, whether it be us or whether they're celebrities and things like that, and the first thing they do is like, man, I want my marriage to be like Russell Wilson and Sierra,
Everybody want that.
or I want my marriage to be like Jay-Z and Beyonce, or I want my marriage to be like this. And sometimes
Yeah.
it may not be people of status, it could be like people like us, and like, I love you guys marriage and stuff, and I'm cool with being influenced and seeing some positivity in people's marriage, but you don't know their climb. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, like what you don't see.
Yeah.
Right? There's some
What we
people.
don't post.
Yeah.
Or what they don't post.
What we don't post or what they don't post. Now I ain't beating you up.
Well, no.
I
You
ain't.
ain't
Hey,
crazy.
we ain't doing all that. But a lot of people do look at other relationships and they be like, I want my marriage to be like that. Like,
Yeah.
what do you say to people who have that kind of mindset or that conversation? Not even just a mindset, but when they're saying those words, what do you say to people like that? I just to more so to women anyway.
I guess like, do you really want that? Like, you don't know their real look, you got
One.
me messing
There you
up.
go. That's one. Yep. We in there.
But you don't know their real relationship. Like, you know what they show you. And you could want that, but meanwhile, like, you get it, and then their husband or the husband that you get that is like their husband is too demanding. Wants, his clothes folded this way, wants his meal hot out the skillet.
Yeah.
Like at a certain time.
Yeah.
And all of this and that, and you're like, oh wait, I ain't signed up for that part. Like, I didn't know that she does this and does that, and you're just not comfortable with it. So now, like, you're in a mess because you wanted what they have.
Yeah. And sometimes I want to say this the right way. And sometimes it's not about what you say you didn't sign up for, but what you asked for in the spirit and you didn't know it. So let me break this down. So when you start, I talked about this before about when you have to be careful what you say first and foremost.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about being like somebody else or having somebody else's relationship, then you're opening yourself up to say, I want to go through what they go through.
Their struggles.
And things like that. Now, you don't know these struggles.
Yeah.
You don't know the demand that man has. You don't know how demanding Russell Wilson is to Sierra.
Yeah.
But she may be the person that's okay with that and do all the cooking and the cleaning. But what you do is verbally, because of what you've said, now you're starting to experience the things that she experienced. So it's unnecessary hurdles, heels, battles, and things that you may not would have had to go through. Have had that you. That's 3-1. You gonna catch up though.
I'm not.
But it's unnecessary things. It's unnecessary. Some of the things that you have to go through, but because you said that's what you wanted, then now you become a partaker in the struggles and the battles and things like that of that relationship, not knowing it. So make sure when you're talking about a relationship goal and things like that, set your own goal.
Yes.
Set your own standards.
Like, you know what you like. So just go by that. Say, Lord, can you please bless me with a man or a woman that's like this. I ain't saying he gonna give it to you. He gonna give you what you need, not necessarily maybe a little bit of what you want, but definitely what you need.
Right. So just be led by God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just be led by God, right? You shouldn't have like a relationship goal. It's cool to celebrate people for how they are and what they have, right? But set your own standards for your house. Like, there's a threshold. What is your, like, what would you say is like a threshold for you, like from a standard? Because I talked about this too, about setting standards that you have. Like, if this dude do this, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, what would be one of your, like, your standards that you have? And if this happens, I'm gone.
Well, you already know that.
Tell me again.
Maybe I won't share that one.
It's a standard. Hey, I'm in the clear, so I ain't worried about nothing. But it's just a standard that you would have.
Let me think hard.
So you obviously just had one.
I did.
You can say it. What is it?
I don't know. I feel like that's an easy question, but a hard question at the same time. Because, of course, I'm not saying that everything is perfect with us, but I feel like we're in a good place. And I don't feel like there's anything.
What's your threshold?
Look, what's yours?
What's your threshold?
What's yours? Let's go by that. Let's start with
So
that.
now you're gonna ask a question with a question.
Yep.
So you putting a Jesus on me. All right. So we talk about having standards and setting thresholds and things like that. Like if this happens, then look, I'm done. I honestly haven't thought about a threshold that I would have because I haven't felt like I would have to set a standard like that because we've been together for a while and I just haven't had to set a standard like that. But the
So
reason
you
I
get what I'm
asked,
saying.
the reason I asked though, because it's different for women. Because for women, it's like if he put his hands on me, I'm gone.
Oh,
It's
well,
a
yeah,
deal breaker,
that's
right?
understandable.
You see, so when I talk about stuff like for me, that's not a threshold for me because it's not necessarily a concern.
Yeah.
But for women, it's more so of a concern for them because
Yeah.
of
Well,
masculinity. And I ain't saying that's right. If you put your hands on a woman, whether she girlfriend, married, or whatever, you wrong. And yeah, you wrong. But some women, it's more so for a woman or a woman to have a threshold or something like that she's like, look, this happened, I'm done.
yeah. Okay. Well, duh. Like I don't think I would do well with
Yeah.
that. Like, no, thank you. But in some cases, like, cause you know what I watch, there are some women that put their hand on men too, and that's just not okay. Like, just cause you're a woman doesn't mean you can like punch them in
Right.
whatever you feel like you want to do
Right.
because you don't feel like they will hit you back. I'm not saying they should, but you shouldn't do it either.
Right. Yeah. So you need to have standards though. Have your own standards. Set your own goals. And have a threshold. Now I'm not saying that reconciliation ain't a thing because sometimes you can reconcile.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have babies outside and they reconcile. That'll be a little tough.
No, that's it for me too. Like,
That'd be a tough one for me.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
yeah, that'd be a tough one for me. But
yeah,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I cannot. That's it. That'll be it for me.
Yeah. So thresholds, standards. When you talk about marriage goals, make sure that you have a goal that's realistic to knowing your spouse. Like I know who she is. She knows who I am. She knows how I flow. I know how she flows. So I set my standards and my expectations according to how we, flow together, how we work together. I don't expect her to do things,
Yeah,
that
are
just
out of the norm.
yeah. And another thing I told her too is I said I do not want a slave.
No, like there's, what year is this? 2023.
Yeah, it's 2023.
Ain't no more slaves.
That's still some slaves.
But you know what I mean.
But yeah, so I told her I don't want a slave, and what that means is I'm not looking for her to cook every single day, do all the laundry, clean up behind me everywhere that I go, everything that I do. And it's like, if I said it, then you need to do it.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for a slave. Like, what I want is a wife,
A partner.
a partner. Like, and according to what scripture says, how that is supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's what I long for. That's what I desire. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. And I believe if that good thing has the things that you need to complement who you are as a man.
And you have to work together.
Yeah.
Because, like, some of the meals that I like, I can't cook. Like, you have to cook them.
Yeah.
Like steak. I can't cook steak.
Yeah. I mean, we have our pros and we have our cons, but they still work together.
Mm-hmm.
They still work together. So, yeah. So let's move right along into, I got so much stuff here. Um,
Like
man,
literally, if y'all could see it, the card is full.
yeah, I got a lot
We
of
not
stuff.
gonna talk about all that stuff because
Probably,
look, we'll
probably,
be here all day.
and all night. So let's go with let's talk about um so we've been married for 14 years.
Hmm.
What are some things that you feel like you've grown in, or some things that have helped you grow just in marriage as a woman in these 14 years of us being together? Because we got together young. Like, we literally have seen each other grow
Yes.
from teenagers to our 30s now.
Yes.
So, like, what are some things in
Look, early
14 years?
30s.
Hey, we blessed. So, but what are some things that you've learned that have helped you grow in 14 years just as a woman and as a wife?
um, I feel like I've learned to listen more. Um, take your feelings into consideration and be more supportive, and of course, cook better.
Okay.
And I guess just be more patient also. I'm thinking because I've learned a lot, honestly.
Mm-hmm. That's a
Like,
question. So you have to take time and write stuff like this down.
yeah, like I literally got to think about it
Because
because,
sometimes you don't realize how much you've learned, how much you've grown. You just kind of live day to day.
yeah,
But it's good to, I know it's a spontaneous question, but it's good to have questions like this, and then just sit down and write them things down. Like, man, how have I grown in 14 years?
yeah.
You know,
Because,
or
of
however
course,
long you've been married.
yeah, of course, I know I'm not the same as I was when we got
Absolutely.
married. Um, so yeah, that's a question. I feel like I gave simple answers.
Right. I mean,
But it's
but
something
that's
that I would
yeah.
have to like think back because honestly, I remember bits and pieces of who that girl was.
Mm. But that's your story. That's your
Yeah,
growth, right?
yeah,
I feel like for me, um, I kind of know who the 18, 19, 20 year old Kirby was. Like, I have a clear cut understanding. So I know because I'm definitely not going back to that. So one of the things I know for sure that I've grown in 14 years is not being stubborn.
mm-hmm.
Um, because it was my way. I feel like I deserve this. What they call that? The kids now, like, um, they just feel like you should just give them stuff.
All the kids.
What's
Look,
the word for it? It's like entitled.
yes,
Entitled.
yes, that
Like,
is
I
a
felt,
lot of the kids
you know,
these days.
I just felt like there's certain things that I deserve or I should have, and then there were certain times where I would answer when I feel like answering, or I wouldn't when I right.
Thank
And
you, Lord, for delivering you from that. Cause
yeah,
yeah, I remember
but
that.
that's one of the things that I've grown in.
But you know what? It's crazy. I think it's the little one that does that now.
Mm.
So I'm like, we gotta pray for the Lord to deliver him from that too.
Yeah. So and that's the good thing about it. Like, once you're not there no more and you're able to identify it, and you just
Hmm.
address it as such, and be able to groom and nurture, um, so that he learns, because he's a kid, so there's certain things
Yeah.
that he don't necessarily know. But I know that's one of the things that I've grown in 14 years is just learn not to be stubborn, learning to be open, have conversation, talk about feelings and things like that, because I would hold certain stuff in
Yeah.
and I would just let it build up. And I was like, when I say nothing to me today,
I
just
think
don't,
also
don't
one
say
of the
nothing to me today.
things that I've grown in is learning that things aren't always gonna go my way.
Hmm.
Like even if I have a plan, it's not gonna always go as planned.
Hmm.
And I think nowadays I'm more okay with that.
Yeah. I have like a list of things
Yeah.
that I've grown in.
I think
But
I'll have to make a list now.
yeah.
Now I'm gonna have to go and think about it.
Yeah, so that's homework. So no matter where you are right now, um, I would challenge you to make this a homework assignment. So if you've been married for 10 plus years or 2, 3 years or whatever the case looks like, there's two things that you can do. You can take a moment to write down some things that you feel like you've grown in, some areas you've grown in your marriage in 10 years or 14 years or however long that is. Write those things down and then think about like what took you to get to that point. How did you get from, as for me, like how did you go from being stubborn to a place where now you're able to express, talk, be communicative, and things like that. So I would challenge everybody to kind of just make that a homework assignment for yourself. And even if you're not married, then you can still do this homework assignment. Like just sit back and think about the last 5 years or 10 years of your life and see how have you grown in
or
life.
even a year. Like you can do
Yeah, people
a
change
lot
in a
of
year.
yeah, you can do a lot of self work in a year.
Yeah. So that'll be some good homework for you guys to kind of tap into, and you can start kind of seeing some areas that you've grown in, and then also just write down some other areas that you would like to grow in. And because what we should always be doing is growing.
Yeah.
We should always be building healthy relationships, not just
With each other.
or not just for us, but also for other people, because how we treat ourselves is probably how we're going to treat other people.
Yeah. Or sometimes we treat other people better than we treat ourselves.
Then we treat ourselves. That's
and
good.
That's not good either. Like you have to be good for you, to you, so you can be good to others.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So we'll take another break right here, and then we'll pick up on that point. I think that was a good point. Hey, what's going on, family? I just want to take this moment to say thank you guys so much for your support, for your love, your likes, comments, shares, follows, subscribing, anything that you have done to support Go Hard for God Daily. We really appreciate it. I would just like to ask one other thing. If you could find any of our YouTube videos, just go to Go Hard for God Daily and find a video that you can comment on, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, or you can leave a review on Spotify. Just give us some rating and some comments there, and that helps us, the algorithm, kind of push us out a little bit more so that we're able to be a blessing to more people. So if you can do that for us, that would be so amazing. But we are appreciative for what you have already done, and thank you guys so much. Now let's get back to this episode. All right, so we're back. We left off on your homework. Make sure that you do your homework. All right, so assessing your life wherever you are, and just go through those things and just see how you've grown over the past few years or the past year. Sometimes you could do it for the past month and just, work on continuing to get better from there. Yeah. Now, one of the main things that I really want to get into to be able to help married people, and I feel like this is essential, especially for Christian living, Christian couples, those who are faith-based, being married and in relationships. The number one thing that you need in any relationship is Jesus Christ.
Yes.
That is the game changer right there. Yes. So if you really want to have a great relationship, I believe it starts with Christ.
It does.
It starts with Christ.
Yeah.
That was one of the... So we've been talking a little bit about our marriage and kind of how we are. We've joked a little bit, but in all seriousness, so the first few years there was some rocky stuff. So we talked about marriage goals and things like that. Yeah. We didn't really dive into it, but this is a time to kind of talk about marriage goal and people seeing you on the mountain or people seeing you on the hill, but they don't see the climb. They don't see the valley. They don't see the struggle. They don't see them first 5 years, the first 2 years, depending on where you are.
Yeah, the stumbles.
Yeah.
And
they don't
try again.
Yeah. So they don't see all of that. And I think not just from experience, but part of it from experience, the changing point in any relationship is when you have Christ.
Yeah.
And know Christ. I'm not talking about you just, I believe in Jesus.
Yeah. Or like I was praying like every night, but I didn't know Jesus.
Yeah.
Like I just knew I could pray and he would you
Yeah.
know, answer the prayer sometimes, and
Yeah.
then sometimes I'll be left on red.
Yeah. But in that though, because you did pray every night. Now she prayed every night when we was first moved in our apartment,
Yeah.
and we had just a mattress and a box spring. Uh, she was praying every night beside that mattress and box spring.
We had a little TV too,
Yeah, we had a
till
little
the lightning
TV.
came in and
Yeah,
messed it up.
that's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother story. But she prayed. She was praying every night. But I still believe that God honored those prayers, because you're held accountable to what you know.
Yeah.
And the things you don't know, we have grace and things like that. Now this is don't mean you just do whatever you want to do, but for the things you don't know, I believe there is grace that covers that, and God still honors those prayers. And I
Yeah.
believe He still did honor and hear those prayers. But the game changer. So we had some rough first few years, but the game changer in our marriage was Christ. And on speaking for my behalf, it was when I surrendered my life to Christ, and God began to deal with me and better me. And as Him bettering me, it flowed according to the structure that God has for
Yeah.
family. Like God, then the man, the husband, and
Mm-hmm.
then everything else followed.
Yeah.
So my connection with God aligned everything else to flow for my house. Right. So that was the game changer. So when you're in relationships, in marriage, you need to know Christ, have the
Yeah.
relationship with yourself. That relationships, as I've said in a different episode before, your relationship with Christ should funnel to every other relationship that you have.
And it makes a difference. Like you can see the difference that it makes too. Like your relationship with God affected my relationship with you
Hmm.
because you were following Him, which made it easier. Well, I wouldn't say somewhat easier.
I get what you're saying.
Because like even in the beginning, like after you got saved and stuff, I was still like, like I hear what you're saying, but I kind of still want to do what I'm doing, like
Hmm.
my own thing. But the more you, I would say, the more you kept doing what God was saying, hey, do this, do this, do this. And the more I was like, okay, well, I guess He listening, so let me start listening
Yeah,
to.
it's commitment. Like
Yeah.
that should be the first commitment. But it took years for that. It took an encounter with Christ, with the Lord. It took that encounter for me to start making those changes. And with that encounter, I submitted to God and said, okay, I'm done. Like all the stuff that I was dealing with, all the stuff I was doing, I said, I'm done. Okay, I'm going to follow you. So it
Yeah.
was the commitment. So we have to make a commitment to following God if we really want to be able to change lives. So as a
Hmm.
husband, the first lives you should be changing as a husband is the ones in your house.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah, those are the first lives you should be following. I'm not following, but those are the
change.
first lives that you should be changing as a husband. The first lives you should be changing are the ones in your house, your wife, your children, if you have children. That's your starting place. You should not be doing more for people in the street than you do in your own house.
Hmm.
Now, and God dealt with me about that,
Yeah.
because I was heavily about evangelizing and doing the work of the Lord, but God was like, you cannot forsake your own home. You should not be doing more and going out in the streets and evangelizing, and you ain't even evangelizing your own home.
Hmm. I remember those times. And I remember, like, sometimes you would go. I remember one time in particular, I was sick. Like, I'm a little drama queen when it comes to me being sick. So I was sick and I felt like I had a fever and I wanted you to stay and, like take care of the kids so that I could just rest. And you were like, well, I have to go to the church to do this and this. And I'm like, well, what about like what about us?
Yeah.
And of course, I didn't voice that to you, but I was like telling the Lord, like, can you show him, like, hey, we here too.
Yeah.
So I think that, look, he was like, look, here go your people too.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's one of those things again when you're talking about relationship, your relationship in any relationship that you need to have, the number one relationship you need to have is with Christ. You have a relationship with Christ, then he will teach you how to have a relationship with everybody else.
Yeah, he'll teach you how to manage like everything else that you have.
Yeah. So we're supposed to be good stewards over everything that God gives us. So as a husband, God gives you a family, gives you a wife, gives you kids, then you should be stewarding your house. You should be a good steward over your wife and your children. And sometimes they're looking for everything else except for building up their house, right? And for women too,
Yeah.
you're not excluded.
Yeah. No, you'll look for like you can help these kids outside your house. Like, let me help this kid. Let me help this person. Meanwhile, your kid needs like all the love and support that they can get. But you're like, oh, they're good. Like they have this, they have that, they have this, and they're good. But meanwhile, they literally just want time with you.
Right. And I think there's a list of things that we can go down on both sides. I know one of the things that I've heard men struggle with from their spouse is they would listen to their bosses, they would listen to their pastors, and all these other people, but yet they would not respect their husband. They would not listen to their own husband. That's an issue.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways. It's not just the man should be doing this or you should be doing this and you just want to hold a man accountable. You have to be doing the things that, as a spouse, you have to be the help, right? You have to be nurturing as well. There's things that a woman has to do just like there are things that a man has to do. So, but yeah,
It's almost like where I read something was like you should be your husband's peace. Like he should be comfortable with you to tell you anything and like look, he should be sleeping or at peace like Jesus was in the boat when it was just rocking and
yeah,
he was at peace. Like that's how your husband should be with you. Like he shouldn't have to walk on eggshells because you're nagging or because like you're always complaining about anything. And I feel the same, like it should be the same with your wife. Like she should feel protected and loved and like you care for her and you know all of those things.
yeah. So let's talk about, because you just mentioned something, and I think we can go right into that because I had this written down about being supportive when you have a spouse that's busy or highly
Well,
highly
highly in
recommended.
demand.
Yes, like everybody wants your husband, or for guys it may be your wife, is different, but everybody wants your husband here. You got meetings here, or you got
Or
events
people just
here,
want to
or you got to
call
travel.
and vent or
Yeah.
get your advice or I'm be honest, like I would say in the beginning it was a little hard because I'm like, them people don't need you that much. like you don't need to be on the phone all the time.
Yeah.
But and also because I know like you would get phone calls random times also. And I think that's when a level of trust comes in too. Like I remember one particular time where this girl needed advice and I think we knew her like from school or something like that. And you came in like our room with her on speaker, not necessarily so I could hear what she was saying, but just so I can hear how the conversation went so that, you know, nothing could be brought back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, that was like, although you didn't give me a reason to not trust you, but that was, to me, I want to use the right words. It was just a different level of trust.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know you're not doing anything inappropriate, like when you're helping people. And you've even come to me like, hey, I need you to maybe talk to this person, or, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
something like that, where you wanted me to intervene. Is that the
Yeah,
word?
I guess get involved a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, get involved a little bit just to kind of,
Yeah. But I will say, in the beginning, it wasn't easy. But with time and, you know, just patience, it gets easier, because I know, like, you have work in this house, but I know you also have work outside of this house.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't solely belong to us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you
I
belong
understand
to God,
who
and
God calls us to. Yeah.
yeah, and you still have to do his work.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. So if there are, if there was one thing that you would share to like spouses out there who have husbands in high demand or have to travel a lot, what would be the one thing that you feel would be helpful to them in that space?
I think the main thing is to see what they need from you. Like, once the world is quiet, like they're not in demand and they just need to be home, like, what can I do for you? Like, do you want to just lay in the quiet? Do you want to watch a movie?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you need from me to make, like, the rest of your day go better?
Yeah.
Or, well, just relax.
Yeah. And I
Like,
feel
just
like
get rest.
I feel like so on the other side, I feel like you've been very supportive. And I was talking to somebody else recently about it. I was like, yeah, my wife do a real good job with just being supportive and understanding. And I think just as some like in the work and being busy all the time and having to do stuff, I think number one for us who are in that space, it's important to have a schedule. It's important to have a time where you say, okay, I'm taking this day off,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
you have shutdown time so that you can still have committed time to family, your wife and your kids and things like that. So having a schedule is important, but I will say, throughout, I know for sure over the past few years, specifically, that you've been very supportive. You've been very like, if I need to go, it's like okay, I
yeah.
got. It's like there's understanding of what my call is.
Well,
So
sometimes I'm on the passenger side with my feet kicked up,
yeah, now
riding
she'll
with
draw a ride real quick.
you.
When we got to ride, she gonna ride. She don't, So, but that's something that someone who's like you said in high demand needs that support system there, and it should be at home.
Yeah,
Like I don't want to go 6 hours away, 4 hours away, 3 hours away, or have to do an overnight trip and come right back the next day, and I come home and I gotta like, well, here we go. Like, no,
yeah,
you don't
yeah,
want to deal with that on either side. Whether if it was for her, then I wouldn't want her to do the same thing either. And there are even sometimes where me working from home too, and her being in education, there's sometimes where I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna clean the house today. I'll make sure everything's straight. So when she gets home, it's peace. Like
yeah.
you feel like being walking into a clean place just makes you feel good. Like
Look, that was your mess up again.
yeah, don't count it. But when you walk into a clean place, you just feel better. It's like,
Yeah,
man, I'm so glad I'm home. I can get here. I can relax, lay my head down.
decompress.
Yeah, I can decompress. I ain't got to put these dishes up. I ain't got to fold these clothes up. I ain't got to,
Yeah,
it feels good. So I think just having that support system is very, very important and crucial, in marriage and
yeah.
in relationships.
And just working well together.
Yeah.
It just makes like your kids feel it too.
Yeah.
Like it just
It's good.
yeah. It just
It's
makes a
good.
big difference.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain
I understand exactly what you're talking about. I know
it.
exactly what you're talking about. Listen, we're going to take one more break and we're going to get ready to close out when we come back. If you would like to share your testimony and let others know how God has blessed you on the Get Inspired platform, please just go to our website, www.ghfgd.com/getinspired. You'll be able to fill out a form right there, and that form will be submitted to us, and we'll review it, and then we'll reach out to you guys. Now, if you know somebody else who may have a testimony, then please share this information with them. We would love to be able to share powerful, impactful testimonies that can help encourage others where they are, meet them where they are, so that they can too begin to trust God the same way that I trusted God, the same way that you trusted God through whatever the situation was that you were going through, and know that He will bring them through as well. The mission is to be a blessing unto others. Grace and peace. Let's get back to this episode. All right, y'all, we're back. Before we get ready to close out in this last segment right here, I want to tap into something that I seen on social media, and it was a post where this guy was saying, he was like, my cell phone is my cell phone, her cell phone, her cell phone. And the main thing he was talking about was, the question was, should you guys have, or should a couple have access to each other's phone? Like,
Was this guy married?
I don't know if he was married. I don't know if they were single, but the question was, do you feel like a woman should have a man's phone to his password, and do you feel like the man should have the password to his woman's phone?
I don't see.
I think I said that wrong too the first time. A woman's phone
Oh,
to
I
a
didn't even.
password.
I didn't.
But yeah,
It's
so,
okay. I
yeah,
didn't even notice because
yeah.
I knew what you meant.
The question was, should a woman have the password to her man's phone, and vice versa?
Yeah. I don't see an issue with it. Like, I have your password to your phone.
Right.
You don't remember the password to my phone.
I don't.
I have given it
But
to
you
you.
giving it to me.
You just don't remember it.
Right. But I'm also not suspicious.
Yeah.
Like,
Same. I literally have yours so I can send me whatever
yeah, we
stickers I need on Monopoly.
Yeah, we play Monopoly together. We be doing all kind of playing games and everything like that.
Or sometimes, like, when you're driving and you need me to text someone back for you, I need my assistant fee.
No.
Because I'm low-key your assistant.
You already paid.
But yeah, like in cases like that where I need to text back or just text someone, I don't know. Like,
Yeah. So you saying it's based on if they married or if they not married?
well, I wouldn't even say to me it's depending on the relationship.
Depending on the relationship.
Like the relationship they have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is him or her having your password going to cause more problems in your relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that's the case, then no, y'all don't need to have each other passwords. Or y'all probably don't. I ain't even gonna say y'all don't need to be together because I'm gonna just answer and say, to me personally, I think it depends on the people and the relationship that they have with each other.
Listen, here's my thing. If you're single, if you are single and dating, I think, and if you're building like a trust relationship, if you don't have anything to hide, depending on how long you've been dating and talking, I don't see anything wrong with it.
I thought you were gonna say what you normally say.
Yeah, I am gonna say that. If you're not married, you're single.
Yeah.
If you're not married, you're single. You do whatever you want to do, right? So that's the other part. If you're not married, you're single. That's just my thing. So, but let's move right along. I just want to talk about that a little bit and just ask, like, you guys, let me know what y'all think. Do you think?
I wouldn't say do whatever you want to do.
I mean, you're not. Granted, there are stipulations. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know,
Okay. I just need you to
there are certain
clarify.
there are certain standards and things. Like I said, if you're building a healthy relationship and you're trying to be together long term and eventually get married, then yeah, you know, you got some rules and regulations, some
Yeah.
laws and stuff that you put in place. But if you just met somebody, you talking, and even if y'all been together like 6 months, 7 months, and all, whatever, whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But just let me know what y'all think. Do you feel like your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your wife should have the password to your phone? Yes or no? Yes or no? So,
In our case, yes. It's
yeah,
totally fine.
I think it's okay. I'm
Yeah.
cool with it. I don't have nothing to hide. So,
Yeah. Me either.
so
But
yeah.
look, this 14 years later.
14 years later. 14 years later.
Oh, look. Well, oh, you have given me your password to your phone.
Oh, me probably not. Absolutely not. Probably ain't gonna say that, but no, the old me, no.
You
So
probably would have, because even in high school, you let me take your phone home so that we can talk. Because I had to get off the phone at a certain time.
oh, that was different. That we sit on the wood. So, oh, that was different. That was different. So, but yeah. So let's move right along. I
Look,
just
my
wanted to
mama
hit
gonna
that.
watch this and say, when?
Yeah, she listen.
We ain't bringing the old stuff
We ain't
now.
bringing that up. We ain't bringing that up. So, one of the other questions that I wanted to ask though was, did you have like expectations before you got married, before we got married? Did you have expectations, or were you just like, look, that just do it? Like, what was your expectation if you had some?
Um, I expected for everything to be roses, walks in the park, all the good things.
The Hollywood show.
Yes, yes, because I watched a lot of movies and I thought this is what it was gonna be like. Um, but yeah, I got a wake up call real quick.
Yeah. So you didn't know what marriage was going to be about.
No.
I didn't know what marriage was going to be about either. It was just something we kind of just rolled into, you know. Again, I think like we did the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, we fast tracked. We did the right thing, but we didn't necessarily know what we were doing.
No.
We didn't know what we were getting into.
But we went in head first.
Yeah, head first, and we realized that marriage really takes work. It's like when you're married, it's not like being boyfriend girlfriend for 5 years.
You can't just break up.
But this is why I say if you're not married, you're single.
Yeah.
Because there are people who can be together for 5 years and then they just like, look, I'm done with you, man.
Yeah.
I just want to move on, and then now you
And they legit can move on.
and they can yeah.
Like marriage, you gotta go to the court. Look, it's cheaper to keep 'em.
Cheaper to keep them. but but it's different. Like being married really takes work. You know, I think any relationship does, but marriage really takes work because
especially if you want it to work.
yeah.
Like it's easy to throw in the towel if you're like, I don't care. Like I don't want to put work into that. Like I'm not happy. I'll go, you know, live my life. He can go live his life. We just don't have to be together anymore.
Yeah, it's really commitment. You have to be committed, like you said, committed to each other and like willing to work things out and do things. Now, if there's stubbornness, if there's self-will, self-motivated, or everything about me
And selfishness.
it probably won't work.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say it'll be tough. I believe God can work anything out. I will say that. I believe God can fix it. Yeah, it can be tough. I believe God can fix anything. I believe in reconciliation. I believe in healing. I believe in deliverance. I believe in all of these things. But both parties have to be willing to like put into work. To not,
it can't be one sided.
It can't be one sided. And sex don't fix problems.
No.
It don't. It's temporary pleasure.
Yeah, I was gonna say you might think it's fixing, but then like once it's done, then what?
Yeah.
Like the problems are still there.
Yeah. Because it'll only like sex will only fix the temporary want that you have from a sexual, intimate point of view, right? And then some people feel like that's the band-aid to heal the wound that's going on. But if you never dealt with, like, treated the wound or got to the root of what your real problem was,
Healed it.
when the intimacy for that moment, that temporary pleasure wears off, you still haven't dealt with the mental stuff that you were dealing with, thinking about what she may have done or what he may have done,
Yeah.
and now you got to go back with that, and now you insecure and you don't. It's just a whole thing you have to go through. So, yeah,
Yeah, and you might think it'll fix things, and then like once you're done, you still feel the same way. Meanwhile, he like, I thought we was good. Like,
yeah,
why you still bringing that up?
yeah,
No, we not good.
yeah,
So
yeah. And there's trauma that um some people have to get dealt with. They may be traumatized by certain situations, depending on how bad the relationship is. They can, some of them feel like they have to do that. And I think that's a whole nother podcast,
yeah,
just talking about marriage, relationships, men, women who like abused in relationships, and they just lay down because they just feel like that's like,
yeah, or
you know,
even abused in childhood.
yeah,
Like you can take childhood trauma into relationships as
yes,
an adult.
yes, and marriage and so many other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the last thing that I want to ask that we can hit on before we close out is do you feel like
Spit it out.
nah, let's go here. What are your expectations now? So we talked about, did you have expectations? Would you, thought when you first got married, and it was like, nah, we didn't really know what we were doing. We just kind of rolled into this thing.
Yeah.
But now that we've been married 14 years, like, do you still have expectations? Do you still have, or I would just say goals or things like that, things that you see. So now that you've experienced marriage,
Yeah.
relationship,
Yeah,
with
I feel
children,
like you should always have a goal. Like you set a goal and you meet the goal, and I don't feel like you should stop there. Like I feel like you should set a higher goal and try to get to that goal. So I feel like my goal is to always make it better. Like even though it's good, it can always be better.
yeah,
And like just make sure we're doing everything that we can do for each other and of course for our kids. Like I think my number one goal is to show them what a good marriage can look like.
yeah,
And even like if they get older and they say, well, I don't like that my mom used to do this, they can still like switch it around and make it better for them. Or I don't like that my dad used to do this, they can make it better for them.
yeah,
But I want them to see that their parents are happy and that they love each other, and so that they can be happy
yeah,
and thrive
yeah,
in a happy household.
yeah. I think, I I had two thoughts. Let me say the first one. The first one is, I always try to, just create a healthy environment and a happy environment. So, I'll do certain things, but I also want to exemplify what, to my knowledge, and what God has grown me in, the areas and places that God have taken me and shown me certain things, just about being a husband and things like that. I try to exemplify that for them, for the kids, so that they have a standard, right?
Yeah.
So I always, one of my goals is to make sure that I am the best example I can be, so that they know whenever they leave, like for my sons, that they know, okay, if they be like me, which one of them want to be just like me, but if they be like me, then they're being like a great example,
Yeah.
right? So it's like when we say I want to be like Christ, like
Mm-hmm.
he's a standard, like he's an example. So if my sons say they want to be like me, then I have to be a great standard and an example for them. So I think that's one of the things that I continue to try to strive for, and and even for Kaylee, being the only girl, at least she'll be able to see like what a man should look like and do
Mm-hmm.
in a house.
Yeah.
Right. Now, outside of that, some other goals or expectations and stuff that I have for us is eventually me. Um,
Give me a vehicle.
I would even go further than that. I'm trying to like remove you from the job. You can be at the crib. I ain't talking about just again. We ain't doing no slave stuff, but we're talking about freedom though. I'm talking about
Yeah.
just a level of uh, financial freedom to the place where we can really start enjoying things. After 14, 15 years, you start growing together. Then eventually, now um, you want to explore things. You want to do stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of one of the expectations and goals that I have, like for us now, to be able to just explore, travel when we want to, see different things, go to different states, different countries,
Yeah.
and just like enjoy each other differently than just being at home and going on dates at Longhorn.
I like Longhorn
And
though.
listen, we do Longhorn, we do McDonald's, McFlurries for dates. Listen, we ain't bougie about the Cheesecake Factory. Sure, you want that cheesecake? We going to the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
We getting 2 slices because I want a strawberry shortcake, cheesecake.
I don't think that's the name of it,
Oh,
but I know what you mean.
strawberry cheesecake.
Yeah, I
I
think
want that.
it's just that simple. Strawberry cheesecake.
I want it. Topping everything. So you want Cheesecake Factory? We going Cheesecake Factory. You want McDonald's? Give me my Oreo milkshake McFlurry,
Yeah.
and we gonna sit in the truck and we gonna eat it without the kids.
Look,
And we
hide
gonna
the
we gonna we
evidence.
gonna hide the evidence, and we gonna be back in the
Look,
crib like nothing happened.
happy as can be.
Happy as gonna be. But yeah, so those are some goals and expectations that I have just for us at 14 going on 15. So I'm looking for our 15th anniversary to be big. And again, I just want to do other things like, explore more,
Yeah.
do more stuff with you. Like I love you.
I love you.
Like for real, for real. Like we gotta turn these cameras off. All right, listen. That concludes this episode, man. Thank you guys so much. All of our frequent followers, those who have been supporting Go Hard for God Daily. We appreciate all of you guys for tuning in with us, rocking with us. Thank you for sharing all the content, all the videos that we post. You guys have been engaging with. I also want to remind you that we now have a prayer wall on our website. If you go to www.ghfgd.com, you can go to the prayer wall. The prayer wall is a place where we've created the opportunity for people around the world to go and submit their prayers, and we begin to intercede for you guys and believe and trust God for you. So if you're praying, if you need prayer for yourself, if you need prayer for your mom, your dad, those who are sick, those who need healing, co-workers, friends, whoever that is, just go and submit that prayer on the prayer wall on our website, and we will post it on the prayer wall so that other believers can also be going on, like our community. They're checking out, the prayer wall, and they're praying and interceding with you guys as well. So the prayer wall is what we're doing right now. We also have the Get Inspired community, a place where you'll be able to experience worship videos, the podcast, devotions and things. So we're building that up. So make sure that you become a member of the page. It is totally free. And then you'll get all the notifications and access to everything that comes through Go Hard for God Daily on that page. So we have a lot of great things that we're doing, collaborations and things like that. And if you are an artist, we're looking to partner with different artists, do content videos and things like that to add into our Get Inspired community so we can share different worship experiences with different artists and things like that through Go Hard for God Daily platform. So thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's been fun for me, a very special one that I always remember with my special one. I be killing it. Ooh, that was a bar right there. That was a bar. I need
Don't write
a
it
special one with my very special. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, man, this has been fun. So we just pray that you guys have been blessed, that you have learned something, that you do the homework, that we've given you to be able to do, so you can constantly be assessing yourself and continue to grow in Christ. And that's the number one thing that we desire for you to do. Have a relationship with Jesus Christ. Begin to grow in that relationship, and that relationship will teach you how to have a relationship with anybody else wherever you go, and to be able to walk in a room, change the atmosphere, and you be the difference maker. All right. So, you got anything else you want to say?
No, this will probably be my one and only video.
That's fine. Listen, I know her
But
lane.
no, honestly, if you guys would like us to answer, I guess, other questions that we didn't get to answer, y'all just send them to him, and then
Yeah,
I'll
check it out.
on.
I'll check it out. But I'm very grateful. This is something that she normally, it's not her thing. Video media stuff is not her thing. So, but I'm grateful that she was able to join us in this episode. So, listen, you guys be good, be great, be righteous, wherever you are, and always submit to the Lord's will. All right. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode. We'll see you guys in the next one. Grace and peace. Peace and blessings. Yeah.
Firm foundation, 10 toes, meet the surface. Something always happen when I bless His name. My faith got me standing tall like Great Danes. Holy Spirit's in the room. We don't have to light a candle. Go ahead and let your light shine. And treat the word as a handle. Holy Spirit's in the room. We don't have to light a candle. Go ahead and let your light shine. And treat the word as a handle.